For a bad thing, you got to go with the LA Kiss. I just got done watching the film myself again, just kind of going over, a little bit more in depth, other than watching the box scores. And it's more of I can't call them a bad team because they have talent, but it's bad football. A lot of the things that they're doing are just mental mistakes. There's some jumping off sides penalties. There's some points in the game where you need to step up and make a play. They get down 2 scores. Coming out of halftime, they get it back to a 5-point game, and they got Orlando backed up on the 1-yard line, and they give up an easy play, and then they give up a penalty, and before you know it, it's back at a 2-score game. And just things like that, the talent that they have down in L.A., and it's not going to get any easier for them this week. They got Arizona. So, it's definitely, they're staring 0-5 in the face if they don't get it together real fast.
For as talented a team they have, they seem like they should be winning, but it comes a question, how much longer does Bob McMillen have left in Los Angeles? For a guy who said he pisses Exelis in the 4th and Loud series, he's done just about nothing to prove that. So how much longer would you say he has left?
For me, I honestly don't. If it was me as an owner, if I give a guy a contract for the year, I'm going to let him finish that year out. And as long as they have a chance, any slight chance to make the playoffs, which they still do, it's still early in the season. We never know what may happen or what may transpire. But, at the end of the day, you got to get in the playoffs. There's got to be some hope. We cannot come around to week 14 and the team is already packing it in and done, and it's kind of, getting ready for next season and the off season. So as long as there's a chance for them, I feel like, as an owner, as a GM, and as a staff, that you kind of have to keep pushing towards that. I'm not really a big fan of making coaching changes in the middle of the season. Just fixing it, just getting it better. Obviously, there's something that you trusted in that guy to put him ahead of your football team, and continue to trust in that. Correct those mistakes that can be corrected. Make the roster and personnel changes that need to be made, and just play some good football.
Their biggest problem so far has really been their offensive line. Besides yourself and maybe Christian Johnson, is there any offensive linemen that are free agents that you would say can maybe come in and help the LA Kiss?
Personally, the guys that I know that I would trust if I had to make a team myself are already on rosters. Of course, there probably are some sleepers, some guys that, maybe are playing 4th or, on IR or inactive on some teams that could definitely play and help. But even overall, just, looking at the film, it's not just one glaring problem. Like I said, I've watched the offensive line give up some pressure. I've watched them have some great blocks, and the reads weren't there. Or, receiver drops a touchdown. It's just a accumulation of different things, and that's what happens. It's never just one simple problem or one simple fix or one position that makes a team play bad. It's a collective of a bunch of different things.
Now, the offensive coordinator out in LA is Matt Salk. You've had some experience with him. Can you talk about him a little bit as a coach and a player when he used to play in the AF2 and AFL?
I definitely have a great respect for Matt Salk. I definitely heard about him when we first were down there, being down there playing with Tiger Jones and Corey Payne and some of the other guys that are still around the league. And we would definitely hear about Salk's name, and I was new to the AF2 and to the league, so just seeing him around practice, he wasn't with the team, but he was kind of working on some coaching stuff, and he would come around. And we had some injuries at quarterback that we needed him to come in and play, and he did. And I'm not gonna lie, when he did, he surprised the heck out of me. Not just with his play, because I already believed he was a great player, but just the tenacity he played with. He was talking trash to DBs, and it was a couple games. I'm sure Tiger will also attest to it that he kind of put him on the map. There were some games where Tiger was good, but when Salk got in there, these are games where Tiger's going for 4 or 5 touchdowns and a half. We're out there, celebrating and dancing and talking trash, and I definitely understood that Salk could play this game, that he knew this game. And I definitely thought he was going to be a great coach in this league. He's helped Tommy Grady get MVP, and he's helped some teams succeed in this league. So it's definitely a surprise to see the struggles they're having in LA.
He's the quote-unquote coach in waiting out there in LA. How do you feel he would do as a head coach with that type of team?
I think it could still, it won't. I'm not going to say he's any way better or going to be worse than Coach McMillen, but they definitely have to fix those mistakes. I mean, if he's in control of the offense now, it definitely can't look the way it's looking now. Whether he's the head coach or the offensive coordinator, that's the ball needs to change defensively. The tackling and the penalties, that needs to pick up. So as a whole, there's going to have to be some improvement from him, and I'm sure he'll admit it. There's some things that he can work on to get better on both sides of the ball. So, I think he could do well as a coach, of course. But like I said, as a whole organization, they need to be able to straighten those things out